Tell you what, there's two things, two pieces of equipment I could have that I've never had in my life. A lift and a plasma cutter. Mostly a lift. After wrestling and rugby for years, laying down here sucks. It would be nice to be standing under here, but we'll get it done. You got the lower mount all the way off, a little bit left on the upper. Alright, we got the control arm mounts off and cleaned up. Again, it would have been way easier with a lift and a plasma cutter, but it is doable with jack stands and a grinder, sawzall, cut off wheels. Wasn't fun, but we got in there. Had brake lines over here, and then on this diesel version we had to move this box for one of the exhaust sensors and the plug for it. I get the plug going this way towards the rear of the vehicle, and the box over here, and we just tucked it up out of the way so we didn't get it. And there's other wires here. Just popped it out of the holes and tucked it up, and everything was pretty accessible then. But I do believe the mounts are going to go here. I'll get those next, which means we'll have to figure out where to put that box. Time to do some sketchy shit. Do da, hope I get away with it. Oh, do not dare. Sketchy, where's the Alright, we got the front wire arm brackets in. Now we're gonna move to the back, which is way less. On top of the body mount here, we got a 16mm nut we're gonna take off. Bracket that's gonna go here for the coilover. Gonna mount where the original shock mount is. And I have us drilling a hole, so I believe this stud here is just gonna get cut off on the driver's side. There's no stud on the passenger side. We'll pop that off there. And we are hitting right in here, so we'll give that a little trim. Had to clearance the pinch weld there. And we had the clearance up there as well. Passenger side did the same thing. Clearance that pinch weld. Clearance up there. We just had the wire in for this relay. Popped it off and moved it out of the way. And the same thing, we'll have to drill that hole out and throw in the slide bolt. Drilled that hole 25/64 all the way through both sides. There's already a hole on this side. I did disconnect a wiring and brake line back there to make sure I didn't hit it. Popped it back in. Reinstalled the 16mm nut on top of the body mount there. And then it utilizes the stock shock bolt. And that's where the coilovers is going to bolt in for the rear. Well, now we got the UD60 in. And you see over there, coilovers. Had to take this one out. We got to do a little clearancing on the bottom shock bracket on the UD60 to make the coilover fit in. And, get going on that, and then try to get the coilovers to fit. Alright, we got the coilovers installed on the rear. Alright, well if you've made it this far, I'm assuming you don't need step by step. We've done all the hard parts really, cutting and welding. Right now we are finishing up the install on the Ultimate 60 rear. We are using the Dana Ultimate 60's front and rear. And coilovers, we got the coilovers in. And then we've got the extended brake lines on, going down to the rear calipers here, which surprisingly are like 3 times the size of stock. I was surprised at how small the rear calipers were on these Gladiators. I got the bump stop extenders in. Waiting on the track bar, put it on its weight. Now none of these bolts are tight on the control arms or the coilovers. We'll tighten those once we're down on weight. I'll put the sway bar ends on. We got to get a couple parts to make the parking brake work. Those are in the instructions with the ED60s. And then that we are about ready to move on towards the front axle, which is going to require some modifications to the UD60 to use the kit and the coilovers that we are using. Engine hoist for the win. Getting this front Ultimate 60 up and out of the crate, put it on some jack stands, and get to work at modifying it to work with the EVO coilover kit. Alright, so this front Ultimate 60, we got to make a couple modifications. We're doing it a little different than the EVO instructions. That was Zach of Dana, who designed these 60s, and then Ken, Dr. Deathwobble, who's used them in a couple builds. And we're just going to trim this off, cut the coil bucket just a little bit. Utilize the stock bucket for our bump stop. We just got to get in here and make enough room to get this support bracket put in on the track bar mount, and we will have to clearance the front here for the, or sorry, the rears here for the coilovers, and hopefully we can utilize all the other stock brackets. So we get this done, we'll get this under there and see what we got. Got the support bracket in. We got the buckets clearance for the coilovers. We should be ready to throw this under and see how everything fits.